Showers, and today I am starting my 7-day water fast. I joined a group with Coop DC. I don't know if you know who that is, but you should go check him out. He's well studied in the fasting area, and I thought it'd be a pretty good idea to, join a group with this one. And I'm really excited. I think this is like the next level for me to get into and incorporate into what I'm doing already as far as cleansing. And this is pretty much like the master cleansing thing for any organism. All organisms fast, and I'm learning how important it is just to stop putting everything in. That's like the true healing mechanism, because the body's doing it all the time, right? So I checked into this group, and it's really informative. It's just people kind of that have already been through it. So some things like sun exposure. I had a question about sun exposure yesterday, and seeing how maybe if I might be pushing the limit on that, because I'm notorious for going too hard. So, but at the same time, I don't really like to put a bunch of information in my head, so I don't just constantly read everybody's opinions. But it's also nice to know that that group is there to fall back on. So shout out to Coop for putting that together. And what I'm doing right now is I'm about to go to the gym to get on the scale, because I do not have one here. And I'm going to see how light I am already. So let's see what's happening.
Go walk. Little Fu Manchu. Yeah. Right. So, I'm like, that's because me and him are going, dude. He's prepping, So.
Now, just to give you a little view of how my body looks prior to beginning. I imagine I won't lose too much weight. I don't really have much to lose, and my weight doesn't really fluctuate too much, especially with the consistency that I have been, exercising lately. Peace. I just wanted to tune in and give y'all an update. I feel a lot better. It's day 4 of the water fast, and the first day was pretty smooth. Second day, you couldn't get me on here and do a video, because I would have been like, who is this dude talking? I was very annoyed. Anything would just get me pretty hot on the second day. And I remember trying to play with the kids, man, trying to just keep the kids occupied and, be a help to my people that's watching the kids, because they are a handful. And man, I remember one of them farted, and I remember the smell was so intense that the only thing I could think was like, this is a shame. Like no child should smell like this. Like, come on, man. And they just, one of them just kept crying for absolute no reason, and there was nothing you can do to, get him to stop crying. So that was a pretty rough day for me. And then on the third day, it calmed down a little bit as far as my energy. My energy was still kind of weak. So like the first day it wasn't. I had full energy. Second day, I started to dip off and get annoyed. And then the third day, same. I was like amped with my energy. And then like I had some pains like midday. There was this pain that came in my lower back, and then like all the way down my legs, especially my knees. My knees were just like not feeling it. So I noticed this was something. This is why I really wanted to make the update. Is that I noticed that that pain it came, and then towards the end of the night, I didn't really sleep too great last night. Towards the end of that night, I um, I kept waking up and going to the restroom, and every time I would go to the restroom, the pain would go down like from my lower back, and then I would go back to sleep, and I wake up, and then I use the restroom again, and I noticed that now the pain in my legs, like my thigh area, it went away. And when I woke up, I used the restroom again. I had terrible, terrible sleep. But when I woke up, used the restroom again, and I noticed my knees felt way better. That's probably why I couldn't really sleep well, because the pain in my legs would just keep me up, and it was very annoying. It wasn't too painful, but it was just annoying. I couldn't figure out which way to turn to get the pain to subside. But around like I want to say 5 o'clock in the rising, the pain was pretty much gone, and then that's when I fell asleep, and I woke up around 9. So yeah, just to update, it's day 4. I don't really have hunger. I still, as I did on the second and third day. So now it's the 4th day, and my hunger is like pretty much down to none, and the pulsating in my stomach that I had, it was like a serious, like it felt like my heartbeat was literally where my belly button was. I think I have a video that I'll post it in here if I haven't already, and yeah, it's just amazing to see how quickly things change. And I'm only on 4. I got 3 more days to go. My body's healing very fast. I can feel it. Okay, day 5, and I'm feeling alright. Not as good as yesterday. My stomach started calling again. It's doing a little bit of that pulsing thing. And I haven't really been drinking much water. Like my water intake has gone a lot down. And I'm kind of just curious to see how much weight I've dropped. To me, it doesn't matter. I don't even have a scale once again at home, so I'm not the weigh myself type of person. Yeah, this is just all curiosity, so we're about to see what it is.
Alright, I know you can be 100 plus, so we're gonna start off 100, and gotta go down. About 140, so I done lost 8 pounds since we started.
Okay, excuse the silliness, but I got a few questions that I want to answer while I finish up this video. I got to ask a few questions I thought were good to answer, which the first one is, did I have any bowel movements? And I had one bowel movement the first day, and it was basically like the remnants of fruit that I had been prepping myself for. So after that, the little watermelon and oranges that I had before, there was nothing. My bowel movements completely stopped. So the weight I'm talking about losing is just basically water weight, and my urine came out pretty dark. A lot of the times more dark than it usually is. So I imagine that got quite a bit of waste out. And the other question is, what did I do for like my focus, and was I vigorous, or was I moving, or was I working out? And I did quite a bit of moving. I did quite a bit of lifting. I lifted watermelon. I worked at a farmer's market on the last day and helped move produce. I helped lift, car batteries. I helped lift a 5-gallon water glass jug on top of the water dispenser,
And I stayed moving, and I drove around, ran people around, like my family around with errands, and that helped a lot. It's when you're sitting in that room, you tend to just get hungry, and I didn't just want to sit there. And lastly, I got asked about just what did I do for entertainment or reading, and that's exactly what I did. I read, and I put my focus on the goals that I wanted to achieve next. And specifically, I am paying more attention to my language and the words that I speak. So I studied a lot of language and um, just increasing my consciousness and in an articulating way, and in a more literary way. I did some writing, and I just literally focused on those few things.
Okay, and for the grand finale, I'm not sure how this is gonna feel, but to break the fast, I have this wonderful seeded watermelon. It's not too many, it's only about 4 of these slices. I don't know how much I'm gonna be able to fit in here right now. I'm not even really that hungry. I just have things to do. So I gotta start rolling back into my daily. But here we go. Yeah, super sweet. Level of appreciation. Mm, that is perfect. That is perfect. These watermelon aren't like even that sweet compared to like orange juice that I drink or the peaches that I just got. The vendor normally has some really sweet peaches, and I can only imagine how much sweeter it's gonna take because your senses are just on a whole new level. I said earlier in a video about my little nephew farting, and it's just like everything's just on another level. I didn't even realize one of my nostrils was kind of clogged up, and it was like that on like the third, no, I think it's like the fifth day, and like it's all opened up. Everything is just clear. So yeah, I'm gonna enjoy this solo, and the next time you see me, I will be explaining why I do this. All right. Now, for those who are like, what is this dude doing this for? Like, he's already healthy. Why is he always talking about cleansing? Like, is there a way you can overdo this? And just like, what's the point? Like, I don't get it. Okay, so if you've never done this, then I don't expect you to really understand because I didn't even understand until I actually did it. I did a lot of reading, I did a lot of researching, and I did a lot of soul searching. But like taking action is like the experience. I'll do my best to articulate it in a way that it makes sense to everybody. But when you want to empower yourself or better yourself, in my eyes, these are the benefits that when you get this feedback, you're like, okay, this is powerful and this is like generational wealth, basically. So, first of all, I want to talk about the senses. I talked a little bit about that earlier, the senses increase. So I don't know if this is due just to sensitivity, or you actually get better sight, better hearing, better, you know, the ability to smell. But all of these things go up, and and this leads to like the level of appreciation thing. When you can smell like this, just the most intense. Well, it's intense to you, but other people, it's just not. They don't really. If they do smell it, it's just not that. It's not that pleasing to them, which I've noticed. And if you can hear certain things and you can tune in to certain things, music sounds way better, and it just takes the simple things. It takes the haywire out of everything, and I don't need so much stimulation to be pleased. Like nature is really nice when you just are quiet and you listen. These things just they stimulate you in the perfect, or stimulate me in the perfect manner. This is my heaven going on here. So I don't want to project anything on you, but like this is why I do it, and I can only imagine people would enjoy this if they could just hear it. But like I've been there back and forth, and you know, sometimes it's just so much loudness going on. There's so much going in our body that we're not sensitive enough to really enjoy these things. The smallest things satisfy me, and the more I clean up, because it's a lifestyle. There's always dust thrown at you, and it's like people think that you do a little detox and then you're good for like a month, or you know, you do a little detox here or there. Don't take it too far, and it's okay. But try that with just a shower, or try that with not putting on any odorants, because that's what most people need without smelling. But I'm looking at the inside. Everybody, you know, most people in this society want to put deodorant on or put smells on or do this or that, but that's not true cleanliness, because there's just a bunch of junk being pulled out of you. Okay, so and once you do this, junk is gonna come out of you from. I've done like a liver gallbladder flush. After 7 years of being alkaline vegan and thinking I was clean, I got into deeper cleansing, and stones were coming out of me. Like, I did 5 of these flushes, and I'm talking about every time a stone came, every time I did a flush, stones coming out, and these stones smell crazy. Like, I don't know, you know, some people say it's like the saponification, and that's not really stones, but the way you feel afterwards versus the way you felt before, there's got to be something there. And the way those stones smell, I didn't want that in me. So I think that plays a factor, and that actually helps this fast go a lot easier. Just all of the cleansing that I've done at deeper levels, and it's gonna keep coming out because we've been doing this before birth. So it has to be constant, or you're gonna run into problems. And that's why people run into a lot of problems with this lifestyle. You know, the fruitarian lifestyle, it can look ugly if you're not doing this, if you're not exercising and literally like helping the body pull this stuff out. It will look crazy in some ways. In fact, most of the successful fruitarians that I know are very active, very vigorous, because you speed up your metabolism, and you eat food and it just right through you, you know. So that's a whole nother story. I want to do a whole video on that. But okay, now generational wealth. Most people don't know about epigenetics. Epigenetics is basically the preceding the genetics that you can pass on. Like they say we pass on disease and stuff like that, which is kind of true. It's like we just pass on the tags and habits, and there's like a precursing switch that goes on. That okay, if your grandfather drank and you know your dad kind of drank, you're most likely gonna get that urge to drink eventually some point in your life. Or if you do decide to drink, it's gonna roll into a drinking habit as your grandfather did. But this happens on the contrary too. So, in the manner of like increasing lifespan and increasing longevity and increasing like all things positive that we're talking about. The reason why we're doing this, we actually, like, my kid is gonna remember this. It's gonna be encoded into their DNA, and But yeah, your generation your next generation is going to remember this, and there are some studies that say if when you fast and eat and fast and eat for that it's like working a muscle. So the longer the cleaner you get, with the more you fast, your fasting time can go longer. You can go longer without food. You can retain your strength. You can retain water. You can basically have this microbiome like a forest that doesn't need you to water it because it's constantly giving, receiving. It's constantly raining. Um, there's so much moisture in the soil, and then that evaporates and it comes back down. It doesn't need nobody to water it all the time, and it's like that. It's the cleanliness and the cooperation and the synchronicity between organisms that allows this to happen. So once you allow this to happen inside of your body, you can go super long times without any food. We see this in nature all the time. So, and also, the when they do these studies, they do it on rats or they do it on worms or whatever, but they see that the next generation can live longer, and they outlive the last generation, and they outlive the last one, they outlive the last one. So nobody's talking about this, but people want to talk about living forever, but don't want to do the type of work and the study and actually pay attention to what's going to get you there. AIs and robots, it's not going to allow us to live whatever. That's just going to give our consciousness up to something. We have to do the work. There's no pill out there that's going to do what I'm talking about that I know of. And even if it was, I wouldn't want to do it because it's like the lessons that are in there. They're so like deep and they're so ingrained. Because like I said, my child will remember this. It's going to be in the blood. So, controlled libido. I've been labeled a control freak so many times, and this may or not be true. But look, controlled libido this is something that I notice males get labeled with having a harder time with, and it's been times where it doesn't feel it feels more natural to just hurry up and bust one off, if you know what I mean, more frequently if you're eating meat, or if you're junky inside, regardless of the type of food. If it's junk that you're putting in, the more you're gonna feel like you have to do that, and the cleaner I get, the more I feel like it's controlled. I still have the same power. And that's another thing. It's the sensitivity. It makes it even more great. But you can control that, and you don't feel the need to have to ejaculate so often. You can go 2 months, 3 months, and I'm sure even longer, without feeling that. You can go. I know people that do it for a year that are males, and just like it's not a problem. It doesn't make it like it doesn't have this control over you to where you're looking at every female and you're trying to like it takes you there because you're just in that animal side. No disrespect to any of us, but that's one of the reasons I like to do it. I like to have this control over myself, and I like to have the choice, and I don't like to have impulses like that that are uncontrollable, that I always have to control them, or I don't have to control this. It's already encoded, and it's like I don't feel the need, and it's just great. It's really great for me. Let's see what else I got for you. I think I'm gonna cut it off right there. Sorry, that was just 10 minutes I just talked. So I'm going to get more into the exercise and the importance of exercise, because that's like the key. That if you're not exercising vigorously, stuff's gonna come up, and you might get cysts, and it might stick right there, and you might not be able to get it off. People cut out cysts because they don't want to do the work. You're gonna get pimples and stuff constantly come out of your face if you're not vigorous. So that will more than likely be my next video, but I'm about to get on editing this because it's a lot of cutscenes I have to put in there. But peace with the good, with the bad, ride the wave. Here on the mic with internal showers, and appreciate all that have made it this far through the video.